If you're tired of doing the same old thing, the same old way, and you're ready to be able to level up, it's time to adopt some feminine hobbies that make you become unrecognizable on your reinvention journey. Oh, honey, I hope you're ready for this episode. If you are, get your pen, get your post-it, get your ambition planner, and let's go. Hello, Ambition Babes. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion, also known as the Face of Ambition, across all social media platforms. And today we're talking about feminine hobbies. The hobbies that you can start to cultivate that are going to make you be unrecognizable. They're going to help you while you're on your reinvention journey. If you're tired of being basic, boring, and stuck, it's time to reevaluate your hobbies. The things that you do that are just for fun, the things that you do that make you more interesting, hobbies that make you feel like you're progressing and leveling up while you're on your glow up journey. If you're absolutely new here, I help women who are over 40 to be able to reinvent themselves and prioritize self-care. And so if that is content that you are consuming, if you are on your glow up journey, if you are ready to be able to reinvent yourself, then please make sure and subscribe to this channel. Make sure and give it a thumbs up so that the internet gods continue to send you content like this. And also make sure that you share it with your best friend, your girlfriend, your sister, your partner, because honey, we do not gatekeep around here. So as I was preparing for this episode, I really started thinking about feminine hobbies, the hobbies that we do that just make us more interesting, inspired, keep us learning, keep us growing, and the hobbies that actually challenge us on our glow up journey. So as I was preparing, I came across this girl's channel and it was absolutely brilliant the way that she was talking about feminine hobbies. One of the things that she did is that she broke down feminine hobbies into 3 areas. We have creative hobbies, we have physical hobbies, and we have intellectual hobbies. So, and before we even get started and you start feeling overwhelmed by this idea, I want you to consider choosing a hobby from one of each categories or just one category. Sometimes you feel like I just really want to focus on my creative hobbies right now, or I'm in my intellectual bag and I'm trying to level up and be just a little smarter than I was the day before. Whatever it is that interests you, I'm super excited to get into this episode to break down these 3 areas and hobbies that you can cultivate as soon as today to be more feminine. So let's start with creative hobbies. This section may be one of my favorites because I love to be able to flex my creativity muscle. I love using that side of my brain that really wants to create, paint, innovate, and really step outside of my scholastic bag to do something that I'm not able to do in my 9 to 5. One creative hobby that I think it's overlooked as something that is creative is shopping. Yeah, like shopping can totally be your hobby. Putting together outfits, creating a capsule wardrobe, donating clothes that no longer serve you and replacing them with clothes that feel good on your body can completely be considered a hobby. Doing floral arrangements is another hobby I don't think we give enough credit to. I'm not saying that you have to go to this top tier florist and buy a peony for $97. I'm saying going to your local supermarket, your Whole Foods, your Trader Joe's, and picking up a nice bouquet of flowers. Maybe picking up some foliage from a nursery and being able to arrange fresh flowers in your home. It just elevates your spirit and beautifies your environment. Interior decorating is also a hobby. Buying nice things, getting new throw pillows, changing up your office or your workspace or bathroom, doing this seasonally, quarterly, or monthly is definitely a feminine hobby that makes you and the individuals that experience your space just feel more relaxed, soft, and calm. Cooking, baking, wine tasting are all absolutely amazing hobbies. Now, I have to admit, I'm not much of a baker, but your girl can cook. This is probably one of my favorite hobbies. You guys, I cook every single day. Shopping, chopping, cutting, washing, pureeing, tasting, sampling, seasoning, even finding new recipes is something that I find so relaxing to do at the end of the day. I'm sure I'm alone in this being one of your favorite hobbies as well, but honestly, I would love for you to think about your hobbies being something that isn't a chore. It isn't something that you have to do, it's something that you get to do. Whenever you're considering the new feminine hobby that you want to adopt, don't choose something that makes you be like, oh, I gotta go and do my hobby. I gotta go and learn. I gotta go and be creative. Choose a hobby that aligns with your goals and just makes you feel like that woman, that makes you feel like you're leveling up your home and environment or even your intellect. Wine tasting is another hobby that I mentioned. And at one point in my life, I really thought I was going to be a sommelier. I absolutely loved wine pairing and food and creating charcuterie boards and dining experiences for just me and my husband. We're the type of people that use glass plates and silverware every day. It's my hobby. I absolutely love it. I'm so sure I'm going to hear from you guys in the comment section about how this is probably your least favorite hobby. If you don't want to go out and buy flowers, consider starting to garden. Gardening is an amazing hobby. It's also a physical hobby because I don't know if you've ever tried to lift a bag of mulch, but that thing is heavy. Watching flowers bloom and produce develop is a hobby that, if you have the space and the time, offers the opportunity for a lot of self-reflection and connection to nature. You can paint, you can draw, practice calligraphy, or even knitting. I don't know about you guys, but I have the habit of turning on something on YouTube or on TV and then scrolling on my cell phone. Creating a hobby that actually sticks is as easy as saying, I'm going to turn on that mindless television, but while I'm listening, I'm going to do some paint by numbers. I'm going to take up knitting or crocheting. I'm going to practice my calligraphy. I'm going to paint. I'm going to feel inspired to be able to beautify something in my life. One of the hobbies that I've seen that is on the rise right now is perfume making and scent exploration. One of the things that I absolutely love is the idea of creating your own signature scent for your body or your home. And before I leave creative hobbies, I'm going to leave a link below to this fascinating concept that I've really started learning more about, which is calling understanding your kibbe. I feel like I'm going to do a whole episode on understanding your kibbe because it explains to you exactly how to dress for your body shape. I'm not talking about square, apple, triangle, pear. I'm talking about the physical features and curves of your body that help you to find outfits and clothing pieces that I feel like scientifically align with what you're supposed to wear. There's a designer and his name is Kibbe or something like that that created this concept. Absolutely brilliant. I absolutely live by it. I love everything that he said, and I definitely feel like you guys should check it out. Now we get into our physical hobbies. Running, jogging, spinning, walking. Oftentimes we think of physical activity as something that we have to do for physical health, but consider running as a hobby. Consider walking your 10,000 steps every single day as something that I get to do and I enjoy doing with my friends, with my dog, or even by myself. Doing Pilates or even bar classes is an absolutely amazing hobby to be able to cultivate because it releases that feminine energy that is oftentimes pent up inside of us. I'm sure you've heard before that a lot of our emotional pain is held inside of our hips. Being able to activate those hip muscles, exercising and moving your pelvic floor, rotating your hip flexors and muscles is an amazing way to release built up tension, trauma, and trapped energy. Another physical hobby that you know I love is creating a self-care ritual. Morning and evening, creating a hobby that goes along with just taking care of your body. I know that some individuals feel like they couldn't spend an hour with themselves at night, but my evening routine is absolutely a hobby. I set my alarm for 9 p.m. and I know that it's time to stop working, to stop watching TV, listening to that podcast, or scrolling aimlessly on social media, because now it's time for me. I take a bath, I shave, I exfoliate, I clean my home, I put on really good music. I light candles. I sip tea. I read books. I reconnect with my man. The time before I go to bed is extremely sacred and has become a hobby and a ritual that I absolutely love. And it's also something that I consider a non-negotiable. Belly dancing, salsa dancing, line dancing, ballroom dancing. Basically, dancing and moving your body is an amazing physical hobby that is not only exercise, but it's something that is enjoyable. Something that makes you smile. Something that releases all of that feminine energy that sometimes just lays dormant inside of us. The moment that you start dancing and moving your body, you start thinking about the curves of your body, how sensual you are. You like to look good. It makes you glisten and sweat just a little bit. Any way that you can find to move your body and dance or even get physical is an amazing hobby to feel extra sexy and ultra feminine. And lastly, we have intellectual hobbies. Now, this is probably one of my favorite because if you've ever visited my channel before or heard me talk about anything about reinventing yourself, you know I'm not going to leave out learning. Nothing is more sexy than a woman that is well-learned, well-spoken, can communicate about politics, social issues, or the environment. One intellectual hobby that I absolutely love is learning a new language. Now they have made learning a new language so easy. Turning on an app, doing your Duolingo for 30 minutes will help you to be able to learn Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese, whatever your heart desires. It's not only practical, but we're women of a certain age. It's time to make sure that we keep that mind fresh. If you've ever learned a language whenever you were a kid, you understand how easy it was to be able to hold on to each and every single word or phrase. And now that we've gotten a little older, it's a little bit more difficult. Although it's difficult, it's not impossible. If you've ever been interested in learning Mandarin, now is the time to say, you know what, I'm going to take this up as a hobby and maybe even plan my next trip around my new language. Tea tasting, coffee, or even food knowledge is an absolutely amazing hobby. I know this is coming from a foodie, but I love to read food magazines. There are very few foods on this planet that I've not at least heard about. I love watching the Food Network channel. I love watching cooking. I read every Bon Appetit issue that comes out, learning about different cultural foods, foods that are eaten during certain holidays. Teas, coffees, and aperitifs that pair well with different foods is actually an amazing hobby. Not only are you learning something about food, but food is directly attached to culture. Being knowledgeable about various cultures. If you want to learn anything about another culture, the easiest way is through their food and cuisine. This is the time we're coming up on a lot of spiritual holidays. You've got Rosh Hashanah, you've got Yom Kippur, you got Diwali, you've got Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. All of these holidays are attached to a culture as well as cuisine. If you're tired of going to restaurants and not being able able to pronounce the food. Making a hobby of understanding and appreciating other cultures is an absolutely amazing and highly feminine way to level up. All of our mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunties have taught us some level of etiquette. It's always something we need to brush up on. I really enjoy studying etiquette and being able to improve my communication skills. Taking a Toastmasters class, taking a high tea dining class, understanding how to hold your body and how your body communicates without you saying a word is a high level feminine hobby that you can start cultivating and learning about as soon as today. I don't know a single woman that doesn't want to expand her vocabulary, be a better public speaker, improve her posture and breathing, increase her nonverbal communication skills, and overall feel more confident. This is a feminine hobby that you can start working on that doesn't have to cost you a dime. Journaling, writing out your affirmations, meditating, and praying is a hobby that I believe every woman should cultivate. Identifying these 4 things as a hobby and a habit are honestly going to be one of the key things that are going to level you up in every area of your life. Traveling, going on excursions, or just staying curious is a feminine hobby that is always an amazing conversation starter. Where have you been? What have you experienced? What are some of the things that you've seen? If this is a hobby that you can afford to do, I definitely think that it's something that you should budget. Volunteering and community building is an amazing hobby to be able to not just level you up, but those around you. I don't want to be the only ship out at sea. If I'm growing, if I'm learning, if I'm developing a new skill, I want others to come along with me. That is why volunteering and building your community is such an amazing hobby. Being able to give to others, donating of your time, skill, and expertise actually may be one of the sexiest and most feminine hobbies on this list. Reading, recitation, and poetry writing is an amazing feminine hobby for anyone to be able to cultivate with just a little time and creativity. Right now, I'm in my reading bag, and I've been talking to some of you guys in the comment section about starting a reading club. I noticed that I was doing a lot of scholastic reading, but I was not doing any reading for pleasure. I wanted to be able to split the two. I actually heard on Balanced Black Girls podcast how she enjoys doing scholastic and spiritual reading in the morning and pleasure reading in the evenings. It's one of the hobbies that I was really interested in cultivating, and now that I have started, I'm completely addicted. I look forward to either reading or listening to an audiobook every single day. I realized that I had so many hobbies that bled into work that I wasn't doing anything for myself. I wasn't finding any pleasure in the hobbies that I had even developed. Or I felt like the hobbies that I really wanted to do were out of my budget or reach. Your girl wants to learn skiing and how to ride a horse. I no longer live in Kentucky, and Aspen is thousands of miles away. And so because it's not physically feasible right now, I'm enjoying cultivating free, inexpensive, or accessible hobbies that have helped me to level up and feel more feminine. Oh honey, I hope that this episode was helpful for you. I wanted to give you tons of ideas so that you could identify 1 or 3 areas that you really wanted to be able to level up in. Hobbies are so important to helping us to embrace grace, femininity, and self-awareness. So I hope that I was able to get your creative juices flowing and for you to start thinking of hobbies that you wanted to start working on as soon as today. If you've enjoyed this episode, again, I ask that you give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you share it with your sister, your best friend, your girlfriend, and your partner. And until our next episode, I pray that you are well and that you're doing something every single day to reach your most ambitious goals.